The Layla Show.
Yeah, it's the Layla Show. Welcome for another Yari, where we talk spirituality, philosophy, life, and the ever-evolving questions of existence. This week we have our lovely guest, Susan Morrow, and she is a medium, life coach, and she does all sorts of cool stuff at her website. It's vast, it's awesome, so welcome.
Thank you so much. Merci et bienvenue à vous. I also speak a little French.
Okay.
I want to tell you a little bit more about who I am, where I come from.
Absolutely.
Okay? Since you don't know me well, and presumably your listeners don't either. So, my name is Susan Morrow-Johnson, and I go by Mojo Medium. And I've also just coined a recent moniker, the Destiny Dame. I was calling myself the official Destiny Coach, but that doesn't really go with my aesthetic. So you can find me on the web at mojomedium.com. I'm on social. My handle is at the Mojo Medium, so the Mojo Medium. If you go to themojomedium.com, you'll still get to my website as well. So I try to keep it simple. So I have come from a background of professional psychic medium. That means that not only do I foretell the future, I also talk to dead people. And after that became sort of coaching along with psychicking, I was doing a lot of one-on-one coaching and really worked in the field of manifestation and then into destiny. And so this came from my personal journey of wondering, is it destiny or is it choice? And I prefer the word choice. We can get into the concept of quote-unquote free will if you want to, but for right now, I'm just going to say destiny versus choice. And in all of my years of meditation and divine downloads and talking to dead people and just thinking, it occurred to me that it is a combination. Our lives are a combination of destiny and choice. And there are events and relationships that happen in our lives that are destined. I call those destiny points. And those are things that are going to happen, like who you're going to marry, when something's going to happen. Sometimes they're attached to time. Oftentimes they're attached to time. And your choice comes in between those. There aren't a lot of destiny points, but you also get to choose some of those destiny points. So what I do now, what I've been doing with my coaching and the way I've become the Destiny Dame is that I know, isn't that fun? I just went and bought the URL. I haven't even had time to point it to my website yet, but it's destinydame.com, so that's very cool. I know. Mojo Medium really encapsulates what I'm all about, but Destiny Dame's cool. So what I tell people is that you get to choose your destiny. You get to choose your right now destiny. And so it is not, I want you to know, it's not a cosmic crusade. It's not some quixotic quest. It's not some deity telling you this is what you must do, and you have to go off and, go to war or something that you don't want to do. Right. Your destiny has to do with your choice. You figure out what your talents are. We all have at least 5 to 7 strong aptitudes. Figure out what your talents are, which ones you want to use, and parenthetically in service to others, which ones you want to use right now, and go and do that. And that is your destiny right now. And when you do it right, although you can't really get it wrong, but I'll say when you do it right, you feel it. You feel the alignment. You feel the flow. And it can be really a really powerful moment when you reach that point. Now, a lot of my clients simply want more clarity on their next choice or their next path, whatever. But when we find that real purpose that feels like this is me, this is what I was meant to do, then that moment happens, and it's just so deep and powerful. And the thing is that when you have one of those deep and powerful revelations, it doesn't have to stay that way, because you couldn't maintain that level of euphoria, but you'll never forget that happened. So it stays with you. And so that's where we can, hang on to that and believe it and remember it and be it. So most recently, I've actually had such a massive revelation recently. After 2 years of my second Saturn return, it was a year and a half because of Saturn retrograde, and that was
we got that in common. I'm in my first one right now. So.
Oh, you are? Okay, so I'm twice your age. Okay, that's great. So then the second Saturn return really became an existential crisis. I mean, by the time it ended, I fortunately found a wonderful mentor who helped me really shift my energy, and I had already been working on making all these changes internally. And so she made this huge difference for me. And then I took a little sabbatical at my husband's recommendation. And after 10 days, I had this revelation. And it was so clear and so gorgeous. And it is, very briefly, I am a leader. I am a speaker and an author. And when I look back over my entire life, I think, well, I've been those things all my life. When I was a little girl, Mother picked me up from a birthday party, and the little birthday girl's mother said, Susie is such a little leader. And I always thought, when Mother told me that, I always thought she was embarrassed. But she said no, that the mom was impressed and that Mother was proud. And so I'm like, okay. And then my first aspiration ever that I can recall was to be a writer. So I've been a writer all my life. I haven't produced a lot yet, but I realized that this is when I become a prolific writer. So I've published some nonfiction titles. I have a really super easy meditation guide for people who can't meditate. I have a book of messages from the universe, messages from the cosmos that I channeled. And without getting into a lot more about how that came to be, it's a great book for bibliomancy. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's when you hold a book.
I haven't.
Okay, so a lot of times people would use the Bible for this, or before the Bible existed, they would use the Torah or Virgil or Homer. And so it's you hold a book and you say, "Here's my problem. I need help with." And then you just open it at random, and that's supposed to give you
I've definitely done that. I didn't know there was a name for it. I do that, like,
there's a name for it.
I have my little poetry books and, like, philosophy books sitting, or, like, spiritual books. And I'm like, that's the one today. What do you
Yes.
It's like pulling a tarot card, but with a
Yes, it is. It's very much. And the thing is, like, what I always say about angel cards, and I don't read tarot, but I do use angel cards for my clients. And what I always say is, most of the cards in the deck could apply to anybody at any time. Right. Give or take. I mean, you could always kind of make it fit, but you get what you get when you get it. And that's what's so remarkable about tarot or other cards or runes or any other form of divination, bibliomancy included. It's that it's all the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. It just, what matters is what you're paying attention to and what gets your attention, what comes to you when it comes to you. And when you pay attention to those little bits of guidance, those little soft, quiet mentions and nudges and stuff like that. That's how I got the mentor that I hired 6 months ago. I saw her. She said something, and I don't know what it was, but I was like, I need to talk to her. And we got on what she would have called a sales call, and I was just like, how much and where do I sign? I was just in. I knew she was it. And so, yes, I am a psychic, and I'm very intuitive about such things. But we all have intuition. And if you just pay attention and
work with people throughout the path to our own gifts.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what I do. So I am a speaker, and I speak on philosophy and destiny and choosing your destiny and liking your life better. I specialize in working with women over 40 who are in, some sort of transition, or who are just feeling that tug of fate, like, is this all there is? What about my dreams of my youth? What about, am I not supposed to be more than this? Or is there something else that's more fun? And I'm like,
the answer is yes.
Yes, absolutely.
10 out of 10
absolutely.
Times, yes.
And you can be any age when you feel that way. And I think that, you're 28, 29 years old, so you could definitely be feeling that way. I know that, when you hit about 27, 30 looms really large, and you're like, crap, I haven't done what I wanted to do. And then, if you don't start paying attention at that point, then life kind of takes over. and you raise a family, you build a career, you do your experience.
No.
None of the above, huh?
None of the above.
Well, tell me.
People do.
Okay, so tell me. Some people do. Not most.
No.
Yeah, you're perfectly normal.
Correct.
So tell me what you are doing. What do you do that is in alignment? What do you do that's not in alignment?
That is such the most loaded question we'll ever ask, but I'll give it to you.
I know.
I've been traveling literally since I was 18 years old, just kind of picking up and moving around and visiting different kinds of societies. I've played with herbalism, I've played with divinity tools in different ways, I've opened a lot of businesses, I've closed a lot of businesses, I've moved to different countries, I've gotten certificates in yoga, I've done this, done that. Never really stuck to any one thing, though, just kind of was using all of the things I had learned along the way and the lessons and the experiences with people to just kind of get to the point where I'm at right now, where I'm just trying to actually choose a path that isn't just so up in the air, because I've kind of tapped in to most of them, but not wholeheartedly, just given little bits. So it's I have all this knowledge and I have all these skills per se, and I've published 2 books myself too, because I've also always deemed myself a writer. But even with that, I realized recently I was okay, this isn't actually what I want to say. So right now in my life, it's all about just finding, like you said, you have to kind of take a pause. I just got back from living in France for a year and just had to take a complete and which is very hard for me, in my chart and astrologically, I need to go. I'm a go. So I had to literally just sit here recently and just kind of let it flow to me and let it come and kind of just release all the expectations of whatever it was that I thought I wanted to be doing, or what it looked like. It was what publishing books looked like, or what I was portraying, or whatever. So yeah, right now we're just in the phase of, I started this podcast not too long ago, and this is probably the most authentic thing I've ever done in my life, speaking-wise, and just being vulnerable and out there, and everything else is kind of stemming from that, and we're reassessing how we want to write and what we want to say. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
So you are clearly a seeker, and you are intuitive, but you have trouble focusing on what exactly you want. Now, when I said that most people have 5 to 7 strong aptitudes, there are a few people who have more like 10, 11, 12.
That's probably me.
You are probably one of those people. And the trick with that, with having that many talents, is to use as many as possible all at the same time, because that's where your satisfaction is going to come from. Right. And when we talk about your talents, that's not just creative talents, obviously. Yes, there's writing, photography, and painting and so forth. That's what we think of. But there are other talents as well. There are talents that have nothing to do with the arts. Having good spatial relations and mechanically inclined, being good at strategy, leadership, all kinds of things that really they can apply to all kinds of other things. So for you, it sounds like you're very much like I was at your age, except I did have a family and a career in corporate, and I went the very normal, quote unquote, normal route for my time. And so if I had been like you and had been able to be nomadic and so forth, although I don't know, I'm not that adventurous, I'm not that gutsy, I'm impressed.
Some people are. I'm very spontaneously speaking.
That's really, really cool. Well, and not having a family and so forth, you can
it gives you the space
pick up and go. So that's really cool. So the trick would be then, what I would do with you if you were a one-on-one coaching client, or if you were in the Destiny workshop, then what we would do is we would really delve into what those 10 or 11 or 12 talents are, and which ones really felt great at this moment. What feels really good. And another thing that I recommend, that it's not something that I do because I'm not good at it, and that is to find someone who is good at organizing and planning and strategizing. I just hired somebody to do that for me. I call her my business advisor, but she's a variety of things. But she is so good at just saying, okay, what is it that you need to get done? And it can be really vague. And then she's like, okay, what have you got that you can accomplish that with? Okay. And then she goes, okay, so Here it is. We'll sit this down. We'll put this on the calendar. You're going to write this. I'm going to write this. I'll send this to you. I mean, she's phenomenal. And this
I
is
want one of those.
I know. I'll send you.
My life. Like,
I'll send you her name. Her name is Lindsay Lopez Horwitz.
all right,
And
Lindsay girl.
and she's at virtuallylindsay.com. She's phenomenal. I mean, I just love her. And I don't think that I could do what I'm doing right now without her, because I'm in this pivot of, building a speaking career, and I need to make money while I'm doing that. And she just homed right in on what I've got and how to offer it, and it's very exciting. So anyway, I do recommend that as well. And like I said, it's not something that I can do.
Right.
Otherwise, I'd do it.
I mean, I am a very organized person, and I can come into your life and do probably the same thing, but with my own, I'm like...
That's the trick. That is the trick.
And, like, if I have the project, like, I'm very, like, because, like you were sucking Destiny, some points, like, my first book was literally just, like, spontaneous. Like, it was a spark of destiny, and I sat down and I knew
download.
Yeah, it was just a download. I had to get it out. I got it out in 6 months. I knew exactly what I had to do with it. I knew every single step I had to take, because it was very clear. But like you said, because of, like, the fact that I have all these gifts, it's not as clear, because, like, I could take any one path on any one direction and not be satisfied unless, like you said, I'm integrating all of them into one thing, which is what I'm working on right now, because I literally will never be satisfied if I don't. And I know that based on all the things I've done in the past of, like, let's pick one. And no, I never say I'm not happy. And I'm like, all right, let's learn something else. So, yes, that sounds like...
Let me give you a tip on that. Yeah. So with our talents, there are talents that are meant to be shared with the world, and talents that are just for us. You mentioned that you're good at organizing, and you can organize for other people. You can't organize for yourself. That may be one of those talents that don't really light you up that much.
No, it doesn't at all.
For me, I'm very good at accounting, bookkeeping, financial, everything. And it came in really handy when I was in the corporate world and had to deal with budgets and financial statements and all that. I married a CPA recently, in recent years. And so I can look over our tax return before he sends it in, and I'll catch mistakes.
Skill, okay?
Right. So it's very handy for me. But if I had to do accounting all day, every day, I would run screaming into the night. So that's how you've got those two kinds of talents. So you want to make sure that you're not trying to use the talents that don't excite you, that don't feel good to use, and that you are using the ones that do. So out of your 10 or 12 strong aptitudes, you may have 3 that don't really light you up, like your organizational skills.
Yeah,
so remember that as you're going, well, I'm good at this. You also have to feel good at this.
Right, exactly. And I think that's something that I'm coming into a lot of also right now, because like I've explained a little bit of my life. Obviously, I've kind of had to, like, push my skills that I don't really get excitement about to make money at certain times, to just kind of explore the other aspects of different ends of my life. Right. And right now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm done. Like, I know I could go get paid doing freelance work right now on, like, all this graphic design and stuff, but it doesn't light me up, it doesn't make me happy, and it takes all my energy away from everything I actually want to be putting out into the world.
Interesting.
So finally I have to just cut it off. I have to say, okay, I surrender. Like, I'm fine being a little less financially okay right now, just to actually give myself permission for the first time in my life to really just wholeheartedly explore all of this.
Good. That is all that. I hit the sad button.
I know. I was like, they're clapping for me.
That's my mistake. No, now I made a clap, so that's good.
Okay.
So yes, that's exactly what you have to do. And I tell you what, if my husband hadn't said, hey, I'm taking care of us, so you need to take this time off, excuse me, and I had the ability to take the time, and I really feel like that gave me the ability to reach that revelation that I had been seeking, that I knew was here. I knew it was here. I could feel it all around me. I didn't know what it was. So since if you have time to take a month off, or if you don't, do that. But if you don't,
I sure do coming up.
Oh, you do?
I do.
That's great. So spend that time doing as little as possible, honestly. Do some journaling, do some meditating, but don't push it. Don't pull it. Don't strain. Just be relaxed about it. Do other things. Just do other things. Journal. Go to the movies. Go for a walk. Play a game. Watch TV. Just be. Without having all that pressure to do all the time. So just be for a while. And since you have the time to do it, it's really awesome to be able to do it. Just don't put that pressure on yourself of, I'm taking the time off to find myself. I'm to choose my next step.
That's where I messed up the entire last year of my life. I was like, I'm moving to France to become whatever it is. And I sat there.
Yeah.
In fact, I did the exact opposite with that mentality and lost every semblance of myself that I had built, and then had to come and be like, oh shit.
Wow.
Let's do a hard reset now. That was real bad.
No, I don't know. That may have been useful. Another part of my philosophy is that nothing's ever wasted. I mean, let's say you had gotten 2 degrees in, art history. That would not be wasted in any way. There would be some usefulness to it. And so that's how I avoid regret, is saying, I know this will be useful in some way. The time that I dated somebody for 7 years and hoped to marry him, and then he dumped me to marry the woman he was cheating on me with.
Full of a lot of lessons, I'm sure.
Okay, let's talk about lessons. So
let's talk about lessons.
My belief is, rather than lessons, I like to think of it as messages. Okay. Getting the message instead of getting the lesson.
That is a kind of higher vibrational way of saying it.
Yes.
Like, you need to learn, you suck.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So lessons, the word in itself implies that you can pass or fail.
Right.
And, you can't fail. You can't fail at your life.
There's no failure, yeah.
Yeah. When you pass away from this life, you will not go to the other side thinking, I am such a failure.
No one's going to tell you, shame on you. You didn't pass that lesson. You are doomed.
Now go back and do it again. And a lot of people do believe that, but that's really not true. But everything is just guidance, and messages are coming to you all the time from all kinds of ways. You just have to be paying attention.
Right.
And feel it.
Much better.
Yes, I know, right? It feels better. And why feel bad if you can feel good?
No one wants to feel bad, but I do like that. It is all about the messages, and but sometimes it does. Sometimes we're just not listening, and sometimes, I know we can misinterpret the messages too, and then you miss, but that's wrong too. Not wrong, but it's not even a misinterpretation. You interpret it in the way that your soul is vibrating, or at the place that you are able to understand in the moment. And then you take that path, and then it kind of gets reinterpreted later down the line once you go through the steps, and it's all kind of getting steps together.
Right. I think the biggest problem with that is that we tend to, because of the way that we grow up, which is all about the intellect and not anything about the intuition. Intuition is not just ignored, it's like squashed. So, in school, if you know the answer in math but you can't show your work, you're either cheating or you're just a good guesser, right?
Right.
So the problem is we get these messages, these bombardments sometimes, and we think, that's my imagination. Or we instantly say, nah, that can't be, because it doesn't make sense somehow. So we write it off because we're all stuck in our left brain. Left brain? Right brain. Yeah, left brain. So the trick is to, learn to tune into the intuition and the messages that are coming in. And when I say messages, I'm not talking about divine downloads necessarily, but people you meet, conversations overheard, billboards, license plates.
It's all messages.
Exactly, yes, it is. And the last resort that the energy has to get a message through to you is your physical body. So illness and injury come along when you're not getting the messages. And so I'm also medical intuitive, although I don't do a lot of medical intuitive work, but I can talk about health and spirit. And
I do Reiki work, so.
Yeah, so Okay, so I base it on the chakras. And, if you get sick or hurt, I look at the chakra that is involved in that area. And we talk about what's going on in your life that would have attracted this particular illness or injury. And, theoretically, people would heal faster and better if they understood those things. I I think that my personal belief and experience is that if you have cancer, if it's gotten to that point, and you may get the message too late to survive, but you will get the message.
You'll get the message, yeah.
Yeah, you'll get the message. So, and that sounds like a real downer, and I don't mean that you're all duped and that you created your own. I'm not saying you created your own cancer. It's not like that. It's just that here are the messages, and here's what you need to know, and here's how you are going to understand this. So,
and they will escalate it. They will escalate it to a point where it's like,
that's true. It's true.
Yeah. So, yeah, you kind of do create it sometimes.
It is. It's law of attraction, but it's beyond that. It's really about everything is energy. Everything vibrates at a frequency, and if you're in an energy river floating along with the current, and you are thinking about this river. You're thinking, I'm in the river, and then there's a tributary over there, and you go, I'm going to think about that tributary. You're going to flow into that tributary, and so then you're floating along, it's going, I'm in the tributary, oh, there's another river, I'm going to get in that river, and you think, river, 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 and you get back into another river. And that's the essence of law of attraction, that thought is energy, and that what you think about will be created or will come to you. So it's all fun. It's all fun, and I know that
it's all fun until it's like a little serious, because you really do have to master the power of your own thought to not attract garbage, which is kind of serious.
That is the trick. That is the trick. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, because of being human beings, our brains are meant to keep us safe. So your subconscious gets established when you're young, and it says, okay, everything that's familiar is safe. Everything that's not familiar is not safe. And so you'll throw up roadblocks if you're trying to make a change. You'll throw up, issues with making changes and doing something different. And that's why people tend to recreate the kind of family that they grew up with. Like let's say you had an alcoholic parent, you're likely to marry an alcoholic.
For sure.
Those kinds of things. And so psychologically, any psychologist will tell you the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's your brain at work.
Psychology and trying to keep you safe. Work are not too different at all.
They're very much interrelated. Yeah. So we have to be able to get in touch with our subconscious and say, this is safe. I'm going to think these thoughts now. And that's why meditation is so important.
Right.
Ta-da! Full circle. There you go.
Wholeheartedly shift your mindset. Yes. Everyone go meditate.
Yes.
I feel like I grew up though, like the weird, like absolutely backwards. Most people are like left. I've always been right brain. I've always been an out of the box thinker. I never used logic, to my detriment for most of my life.
We live in a world of logic. It's hard to survive without it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, as I get older, of course, I've had to meld the together, but.
I always say that we're born with both intellect and intuition, and we're at our best when we use them both.
Right, you can't just use one, and that was, It's
if you're all intuition, you really would not be able to function in the.
Oh, I was like a target practice, little kitten in a corner, who's gonna hurt me next? Who's gonna shoot daggers into my loving soul next round while I just sit here and lay down and can't physically handle it.
That's so sad. That's why you're a nomad. That's why you're a seeker. That's exactly right, because you didn't want to re-experience that as an adult.
Right.
And so, bravo. But now you've got to figure out what you do want, what your life really is, and choose your destiny so that you can love your life. Again, full circle.
She sounds very fun.
Right.
She is fun. She's very fun. My husband just stopped in and said, she sounds very fun.
Hi, husband.
Hello. Sorry to interrupt, but your voice is kind of infectious, and I heard you laughing and having fun, and I just wanted to tell you.
Thank you. That makes me so happy. That's why we do what I do.
Good.
Awesome.
I'll leave you guys. But
okay. Thank you, honey. So that was a very cool little interruption, actually. I'm glad you did that.
That made my soul happy. I'm getting that a lot lately from things, and it just literally lights me up.
Put that on your list of talents. that you are attractive, that you are interesting, that people are drawn to you.
That's my number one talent. I just need to. I mean, this podcast is great.
Yeah.
One right thing I'm doing, but there's a lot more I'm trying to build off of that.
You're doing a lot right, believe me. Oh, we were talking about left brain and right brain, and I wanted to recommend a book. It's called My Stroke of Insight by Jill Bolte Taylor. She's a neuroanatomist who suffered a stroke at the age of 38.
Oh my God, that's so young.
Uh-huh. And she's a neuroanatomist. So how is it that, talk about attracting something that you need. So she experienced a stroke from the inside out, and she was conscious during a lot of it. And so she was able to recall her experience. And it's a fascinating book and a fascinating look at our brain.
I'm going to order that book immediately because that is just...
It's a short book, too, and you can also go on. She did a TED Talk or some sort of talk. You can find her on YouTube and get the basic story. It's just fascinating. And so, our brains are what produce the thoughts, and they are electrical. They have energy, and, it's all about frequency and energy. So it's very cool stuff.
And that's, so interesting. Because it is. You really do attract, and it's not like she, for example, probably wasn't ignoring, her body or whatever and bringing it in for a negative way. She just had to have this experience so she could go on and understand better and teach people and be the kind of beacon for a new form of study and a different perspective on it.
Exactly. From a medical intuitive standpoint, I would say she was so hungry to know what was really going on that she was herself.
So hungry for the knowledge.
Yeah. It wasn't like she didn't have high blood pressure. She wasn't ill in any way. She didn't have heart disease or anything. It was just random thing.
Her knowledge just took over. I gotta know. I'm not accustomed to
I gotta know.
I gotta just be able to explain this from my field and actually know what which is valid because I feel like I'm the kind of person who would be throw me through the ringer. I wanna know.
Has it occurred to you that when you were a child that's exactly what you did? That before you were born you said, I want to go through the ringer and figure this out?
Wholeheartedly, yeah. I picked the toughest, cause
that's your destiny too.
Yeah, and it is, because, I don't have to choose, but, it's some people, are nomadic because they have to be or whatever. I grew up in a pretty normal family. On paper, it looks pretty good. I'm nope, I want nothing to do with your normalcy, your stability or this lovely, cushy life that I was offered. I want my own lovely, cushy life, but I want to do it, in the complete alternative way that I never have to surrender or sacrifice any point of my freedom. Or
who you are.
Or who I am to get there, exactly. And I never will, and I never have. But it has made it. It's been a weird journey when you decide that. Of course,
maybe one of the things you're going to do, or I don't know if I'm picking up on this psychically or just logically, or both.
Maybe both.
But maybe your next project is to write about the last 10 years. And, that woman wrote Eat, Pray, Love after just 1 year or 3 years. You've got 10 years of meandering, wandering, nomad, and all kinds of experiences in different countries and different cultures. And maybe explore, what you're running from, what you're looking for. And maybe that's how you'll find it, is to write about it. Right. So pull out your journals, put them together, write the book.
I know. That's what, even my mom, who is, she's a little intuitive in her own right, but she'll never tap into that acknowledgement that she really is, as much as she is. But she's always said, you just have to write the story. And I'm I don't know where to start. I don't know if I want to dig that deep into the essential depths of my spirit. But that is what I want to do. It's not.
But that will be so cathartic, and it will also lead you to the next thing.
Right. Exactly.
I really believe that.
Also, I don't know. I feel before I was always trying not to be as raw and authentic as I was, but I find literally zero satisfaction in not being completely vulnerable, open, and raw at this point. If I'm not, I won't do it anymore. I'm just like, not for me.
So every day you wake up and go, how can I scare the hell out of myself today?
Yep, and like the rest of humanity, and literally ruin someone's ideology of what existence is at the same time.
Well, maybe, in 20 years I can pass on the mantle of the Destiny Dame to you. Maybe you're the next Destiny Dame.
That does kind of fit my vibe.
That was fun, yeah.
I have always had a vintage store too, so I feel like the word dame is always just like, yeah.
Yes, yeah, right? Oh, I love that.
I know your glasses too. I was like, oh, she is such the Destiny Dame. This is such a fun. And all I can hear is like Frank Sinatra in the movies. Like, yeah, all the dames, like.
You know what's so funny? That you would say that 2 days ago. I had Strangers in the Night stuck in my head.
Oh my God.
Over and over. I was just like humming it all day and Strangers in the Night. And there you go. And I was like, why am I thinking of this song? And that's it. There you go. Now I know why it was hanging around my head, because I was going to come here and talk to you about Frank Sinatra.
Right.
In the Destiny.
So many people use that word. It was just who's pinging, Frank Sinatra dames. 100% all day.
That's it. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, what else can I tell you?
You choose. You have so many topics. I'm like,
I do. Well, now see, like you, I have a lot of interests. I don't think I have 11 or 12, actual aptitudes, but I have a lot of interests, and so a lot of it has kind of come together under my umbrella, and it has always been hard for me to choose, what to, as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, as solopreneur, I've always had trouble, like, staying focused on just doing one thing. Just do this one thing now. You're supposed to do one thing and do it really well. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to do that. I want to have a community, a membership thing, and I want to have one-on-one, and I want to have groups, and I want to have workshops, and I just want to write, and so I'm really trying to focus on.
So we're the same person. Okay.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. And so I'm really focusing right now on speaker, author, self-help leader, really focusing on that. And in the meantime, I'm doing the Destiny Workshop. Oh, I can tell you about that.
Yeah, tell us about the Destiny Dame.
Okay, I will. So I've got upcoming in just a couple of weeks. I'm doing, maybe less than that. I'm doing a secret podcast. Ooh, a secret podcast.
I like
that. So the way to get into that is to go to mojomedium.com and sign up for my newsletters. So you'll get the information on that, because, like I said, it's right around the corner. And then after that, we're going to do the full Destiny Workshop, which is 7 sessions. It's going to be on video. It'll be live video with people in a class, and we're going to walk through the 7 elements of your destiny and help you to figure out how to choose your destiny right now. So, and then after that, the last element of your destiny is your manifestation, and that is how you do what you're going to do. And so then after that, I've got a special offer on my Make Magic with Mojo course, which is a self-paced video course. And it is all about manifestation and creation and changing your vibe and all that.
I love all your names, too. Like,
thanks.
Mojo, I know it's like your names combined, but great.
It's part of my name. Morrow-Johnson is my last name, so it's Mojo. And your Mojo is your essence. It is your talents. It is what makes you you. And when you find your mojo and figure out what it is, then you love your life. So find your mojo was a little more esoteric than choose your destiny. So I'd stick with
and it should be more.
A little more understandable.
But yeah, so that's happening. That's probably because I think this will probably come out in 2 weeks, this podcast. So maybe it's right around the time of that.
Okay. Well, if you missed the secret podcast, you can still join I'm
signing up for your newsletter as we're on the podcast. Not to be distracting, but I know myself. I'm going out of town for 2 weeks, so not 2 weeks, but kind of 2 weeks. So I know I'll forget if I don't do this right now.
Where are you headed this time, Layla?
Well, now we're just kind of doing it local. I'm going to my friends in New Hampshire this weekend. We're going to Albany to see a band, the Co-Defendants, and then next week I'm taking off to Albany, Rochester, and Syracuse to go see a 3-night run of this other band I really like. and then
Cool.
back here. So right now, like, one thing I will say, I love living on the East Coast is, like, how close New York, New Hampshire, like, and there's such great music. So, like, this is what I used when I actually, like, was stationed in the East Coast once upon a midnight dream or whatever. I just saw music all the time, and I would just pop up.
Oh, wonderful.
So we're reconnecting with that, which is very healing to my soul, because if I'm not dancing and driving my car like a mad woman on tour sometimes, like, it's not working for me. So we're
well, now, do you make music yourself? Do you sing? Do you play an instrument?
I play a couple instruments. I play the mandolin and piano, but not well. I love to sing, but I've never written, like, any of my, I've played on stage. You can see me sing on stage on some YouTube videos, but just, like, cover songs. So I didn't really, like, I haven't pursued that in the, like, essence that maybe one day some of my writings will turn into songs, but it was more, like, fun for me. I love to sing, but, like, because I don't write my own songs or anything, it's not like I'm gonna, build too much on that, because I'm just copycatting other people's songs at the moment. But singing makes me happy.
Exactly. I love singing too. I love to sing. And I can harmonize with anything. And, if you wanted to do a duet with karaoke, we could tear it up.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. All about it.
But I tell you what, if you wanted to pursue a singing career, you could. And I don't think you're going to do that. But here's the thing about singing. There are lots of singers who do not write their own songs.
Right.
Lots and lots. I mean, big stars who do not write their own songs, or at least who don't start out that way. And then there are the others, like Carole King, who wrote music and songs for other people for years before she did her own.
She's the vibe. She's the vibe I would like to accompany. As ever went into music, I'd be like a Carole King of it all. Like, so of course, yeah, I could pursue any one thing right now, but I feel like if I was to pursue music, it would be all-encompassing. But I do think there will be sound healing and stuff like that incorporated in whatever I'm doing.
Love that.
I feel like I know I'm working on some, like, subliminal affirmations and stuff right now, and, like,
cool
stuff like that. So, like, there will be, like, voice stuff. And I will probably always sing karaoke. And maybe
every chance I get.
Right. I'm probably going to do it this Saturday, because we went to stay with my friends last weekend. And we were like, we're going to do karaoke Saturday, but we were up till like 8 in the morning Friday just being silly and not sleeping. So Saturday we were like, we're not going out. But this Saturday, I'm going to just declare we're going to karaoke.
Time to sing. It's time to sing.
It's always time to sing.
Time to sing. Absolutely. And there's a famous quote from St. Francis of Assisi. He said, "He who sings prays twice." And I love that, even though I'm not religious. I just love that, because singing for me is very spiritual.
Yeah, for me too. It's just like the way it is.
I mean, I may be singing, pop or rock or whatever.
I might be singing
blues.
Strangers in the Night, but it is serious. Okay.
But that feeling, it's so great.
Yeah,
if you've ever sung with a choir, there is just nothing like singing with a choir. Or even singing to just two people.
Right, like just connecting on that level. And
it is, there's something magical and spiritual about it, absolutely.
And I know that's why I love to, like, go on tour and see bands and stuff, because there's just nothing like the community.
Yeah, and also being with a crowd.
Watching people collaborate and, like, bring this, like, beautiful thing to life, and utilizing each other's energies to manifest, like, these beautiful sounds that are, like, mostly, like, and this is why I usually, like, there's a lot of jam bands and stuff, which I just think is beautiful, because they just get on stage and they're improvising just their energies and the mix of our energies, and it's like, it's
so
pure
amazing.
magic. It's like, that's co-creation at its finest.
At its finest, absolutely. You sound like
it's my soul. Like, it's like,
so,
okay, now I know.
About when you're in a group of people like that, so somebody who's a singer or a musician or something like that, they go, yeah, but I'm not really helping people. Oh, yes, you are.
Oh, yes, you are.
Have you ever been to a concert when you didn't feel something?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Music is, it's the universal language.
It's one of the most healing things in the world, and now that I'm saying that out loud, I know I'm going to have to do music stuff in whatever I do. But, maybe, like I said, maybe it's just sound healing and binaural beats and whatever. I don't know, but...
Maybe so. Drum circles, Tibetan music singing bowls.
I love those quartz singing bowls. The quartz ones are amazing. I've wanted a set of those for, like, years, and I'm at a place I'm allowed to buy myself some things in a couple weeks. So
Yay!
I feel like we're gonna remind ourselves it is on like 7 lists. It's been on lists for like 7 years. You know, some of this stuff it's like you always know, but it's like one day this will come to the time where you're not gonna use it.
And the time comes and you go, I've always wanted this, and there it is, and you do it.
Exactly. But if you do it prematurely, that shit will sit in a closet or a storage locker in France.
Isn't that true? I never thought of that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, if you do it prematurely, it just sits there collecting dust. That is so true.
It's so true, and then it's just like, oh, another thing that's just like not.
But you know what? That also, I think about the things that I've just jumped on. Like last year, I went to Santa Fe with my mother and my sister, and they had, there was an art thing going on, of course, like there always is. An artist set up by the train station, and there was this woman who was selling these really cool scarves. They're like an infinity scarf, but they're only about as big as around to get over your head. And then
like that.
They're wide enough that you can pull up as a cowl or have it as a scarf around your neck. And I was just enchanted with these. And she chose these gorgeous colors and these fabulous yarns and mixed all the yarns and the different media. And I just fell in love with it. Went home, bought a knitting machine, got some yarn. I was so excited. I'm going to do this. I'm going to sell these. I'm going to give these as gifts. They're beautifully. And then I didn't. Yeah, I haven't really done it. I practiced some, but I didn't make a beautiful scarf yet. And now I'm thinking, instead of just, it's just going to collect dust for the rest of my life, I'm thinking, it will become a thing. It will become a thing. It will come. I will collapse the timeline till it arrives in my space, and I will make beautiful scarves.
It always will come eventually. Like I said, you have the tools. You have the tools, but that's like the story of my life. Like how many times I'm like, I'm just gonna do this. This is it. This is it. I found the ping of inspiration. I'm like, nah. But then even like it's funny because herbalism is coming back a lot. And I used to have an herbal company. I was making soaps, salves, balms, like tinctures, teas, all this stuff. And I was just like, when I was on the road so much, it wasn't that I didn't like it. It was like I can't feasibly like keep manufacturing all this shit and like collect like having these gargantuan oil buckets and all these molds and stuff. But it's funny because now I'm at a place where I'm not settled. I mean, I'm staying with my family right now, but like I'm at the place where I'm looking to settle my home base somewhere that I'm not where I am when I'm not traveling. And for right this second it's here, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, herbalism is coming back hard, and I'm like, okay, and I'm re-pulling out like the soap recipes and stuff to like put in this new like level of Etsy because I'm reopening my vintage store, and I'm gonna do it with astrology. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do, like, astrological, like, herbal things with that. So it's, like, it's all coming back. But, like, had I sat with the materials. But it's funny because you end up buying the same shit over and over. I've bought the same shit so many times in my life. Like, I sold this. Okay, well, now I'm going to go buy it again. Like, all right, well, fine.
Well, you definitely need to talk to Virtually Lindsay.
Yeah, clearly, because you've already heard me pop off at, like, 20 ideas at the mouth right now. And I don't know where to start, so I need her because, and you might need me too because I'm going to help. I help you focus in an energetic way. She helps you focus in a practical way. I need both. So I mean and this is part of the podcast. Like everybody at first, it wasn't like necessarily a spiritual podcast, but now it kind of is, and it's like. But everyone who's come on, I'm working with in some way, shape, or form.
Like, beautiful.
Some collaboration, or we're bouncing ideas off each other, or I'm doing readings with them and stuff. It's like every single person coming to me is like someone I'm supposed to work with and have in my life at this point.
Wonderful. Well, that's a good place to wrap up if you're ready.
I'm ready. So, yeah. Okay. I know, because we kind of full circled it. That was perfect.
Definitely. Love it. And I think that what's great about this podcast for you is that by highlighting and supporting other people, you are feeding your soul.
Right. It's all about, like, building this beautiful community where we can all just come and talk and be ourselves.
And that's you. That's you. You're like the Oprah of
the spiritual community.
World.
I'm spiritual Oprah, right?
Spiritual Oprah podcast world. Yeah. That's you. Waiting for your crown of destiny dame in 20 years.
Literally.
I'll be ready to pass on the scepter. Pass
Okay,
on.
well, I'll be holding it down as Oprah of the podcast spiritual world.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So yeah, so we can. Is your course still accepting people for this?
Yes. So actually, I have not formally announced the secret podcast. So it's coming up in about 10 days, and it's going to be a secret podcast. Each module will drop each day, but you can go back and listen to it anytime during the week, and you don't have to just like be there and it's only available on Monday. No. It'll be there the whole week. Yeah. So it's going to be fun.
So look out for that, and everyone can follow you on the Mojo Medium. It's
MojoMedium.com or the Mojo Medium, Facebook and LinkedIn. Although I have to say I have not LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram. I've not been doing much lately. So if you get to my Facebook or Instagram and go, well, she hadn't posted in a month and a half or whatever, then don't worry. It's coming.
It's eclipse season, y'all. We're resting, okay?
Yes. Thank you for that. Yes, that's very true. Okay, but it's about...
My social media is sleeping right now, but you can find I post stories every day, but it is literally asleep. Like, it's in bed.
It's resting. It's hibernating.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Such a delight to visit with you.
With me. This was such a ball. See, I'm recharged and happy now. I was like,
me too.
So
I'm going to go clean the house, I think. I feel great.
I'm going to go pack for my vacation, finish my laundry. And
yes, there you go.
My outfits together and pack the jewelry away.
That's another gift you have, is that you energize and uplift other people.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, good. Well, then I will talk to you soon.
Well, thank you so much. Have a lovely day, and thank you for coming on the Layla Show.
You too. Take care. Bye.
The Layla Show.